Alright guys, welcome back. GM Light here. Today we're going to be talking about how they announced a new Leprechaun reboot. Looks like it's going to be coming from Lionsgate, which that's good news because they released the better ones in my opinion. As long as it's out of WWE Studios' hands and the Sci-Fi Channel, I think we'll be alright. For some reference, I'm a big fan of this franchise actually. It's just, I know they're not good movies, but they're ones that I grew up watching. I have nostalgia for them. I have a lot of good memories watching them and renting them as a kid. But I feel like the last one that was kind of in that Warwick Davis era, Leprechaun Back to the Hood, I think kind of came before my time as a fan of this franchise, so I really haven't seen any kind of reboot that's really impressed me or held a candle to those original movies. Leprechaun Origin was obviously just a complete disaster. They totally wasted Hornswoggle. I actually think that's interesting casting, and I think that he could have played a different version of the Leprechaun that would have been interesting. Leprechaun Returns is decent, but I think the main problem with it is that the guy's not trying to make the Leprechaun into his own. I guess it makes sense because it's supposed to be the same exact character 25 years later, but it was pure mimicry. He didn't really try to make the character his own, and I think that's kind of an issue because when you have a recasted version of a character that was iconic because of the actor who played him, it's tough to really follow it up with an imitation and kind of not have things stand off. Yeah, sometimes he sounded like him. He did an alright job with what he was told to do, but at the end of the day, when he's just trying to pretend to be Warwick Davis and doing a voice imitation, he just sounds like a cheap imitation, a poor man's version. Another problem that I kind of have with Leprechaun Returns is that they leaned into kind of poor CGI. It's got that Sci-Fi Channel quality to it. There's some fun with it. There's some good kills. There's some stuff I like. I'm not trying to say it's a terrible movie or anything. I like that they brought Ozzy back. I think that that was a nice touch. But overall, I want them to kind of bring it back to that quality that they kind of had at least with the first three. Those are the ones that I really remember. I think the tone was a little bit more balanced, even though it's always been stupid. Those kind of had a good mix of like the thrills and the comedy and stuff. It was just a little bit more well worked for me. Apparently the director is a dude named Felipe Vargas. It seems like he's done some short horror films. Nothing really that I've seen, nothing I really know him for. But I hope he does a good job with this. I think if they take it back to that roots, they kind of did that with Leprechaun Returns, but it feels like they were going more for Halloween 2018, but I'd rather they kind of go back to what made the originals work. I have no doubts in my mind this is going to be straight to DVD. I don't think that Lionsgate's going to release this theatrically and expect an insane return or anything. Especially too, they've been going straight to DVD since the third movie. I don't think that necessarily means that it has to be shitty or crappy or that they need to make it bad. I think that if they stick with practical, I think that if they just take it back to what they already have done, what's already worked, they could have a good movie, or at least an entertaining one. It's just hard to think about where they could take the Leprechaun next. You know, you've already had him to space, you've had him in the hood, you've had him in a lot of different places. Really the only thing to do now is just kind of have a totally different interpretation that also respects and kind of works in tandem with the original. Like I said, I think Hornswoggle could have done a really interesting performance as the Leprechaun and have a different kind of attitude than Warwick Davis's version. Kind of like how they have the Chucky from the original series and then the Chucky from the remake. Just have separate takes that work on their own, because let's face it, if they were just to do a Brad Dourif impersonation of Chucky in the remake, I don't think that would have worked. You kind of have to do something different, but also not too different. Like with Leprechaun Origins, it was like a creature. It wasn't like a leprechaun. It was basically just a Wendigo movie. There was really no relation or connective tissue with the Leprechaun, so that movie kind of just pissed off the fans and nobody liked it. Not even the Leprechaun fans, which, I mean, you know it's bad when even they disown it, because this is kind of just a series where the fans are used to pretty dog shit movies, but you need to have that charm. You can't just feed slosh and shit and just expect them to eat it. You have to actually put some love with it. There's a lot of directors and creators out there that do want to give this franchise the love it deserves, so hopefully this remake or this reboot does that. Hopefully they try something different with the actor, whoever they choose, because Warwick Davis has made it clear that he doesn't want to go back to this role, and you know, I understand that. He's already done 6 movies. He's done plenty with the character. Someone could provide a new angle on this character. So Leprechaun Reboot, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see this movie? Do you think it'll be terrible just like the rest of them? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. Have a good one.